This is my most basic and down-to-earth AR-15 replica I've ever had. You may have rails, you may have adjustable length, and I'm sure you have better accuracy, but I have class. Today we see just how well put together the once discontinued Classic Army M16A1 is. In this review, we'll be going over the build quality, features and quirks, its range, its pros and cons, and all the other good stuff you need to know. Thanks to Classic Army and AirsoftGI.com, which is where you can get this rifle for yourself for $240. Now the Classic Army M16A1, or the M15A1 VN as Classic Army is calling it, has many advantages over the other replicas of the same rifle, and that's what I want to pick on throughout this review. But first we'll begin where we always do, with the unboxing. Starting off, Classic Army continues the trend with the flashy graphic dip cardboard boxes. But instead of the graphics being blue and silver, this box is black and white, which is a bit interesting. Inside, right on top of the styrofoam sheet, you'll see the first advantages of buying this gun. Classic Army threw in this gun bag. I know I'm spoiling the rifle a bit, but this bag will fit the entire M16 so you can transport it properly, and I'm happy to see a company throw something like this in. Next is the manual in a Ziploc bag. This manual will show you how to use your safety on all the standard Classic Army models they produce, how to load your magazine, and how to insert your battery. I will say that you don't get any direct instructions on your M16A1 itself, and you don't get an explosive view of your gun, so I did have to ask a few friends on how to get into the battery storage. Next up, underneath the styrofoam is the lovely M16A1, its metal high-cap magazine, and a clean rod underneath the rifle. This is all seated nicely in a thick styrofoam layout, which is great for shipping, so that's another pro, but I care more about the rifle than the box, so let's get all this out of the way. So face to face with the Classic Army M15A1, I'll say now that I've wanted one of these for a very long time now, and this is the model that I've always wanted. Everything just looks so good on this model, and it feels just as nice. But starting up front, we have a plastic early replica of the birdcage flash hider that is correct for this replica rifle. I would want to get the 3-prong flash hider to put on the 14mm counterclockwise threads, even though not all M16A1s had that type of flash hider, but for this review, I'll leave it as it is. This flash hider sits on a smooth metal outer barrel with the metal front sight and bayonet mount backing it up. When paired with the rear sight on the integrated carry handle, these sights work fine, but I did notice that the optional apertures on the rear sight are pretty much the same. The only difference being that one is shorter. Ergo, the rear sight is adjustable for windage with an optional elevation aperture, while the front sight is adjustable for elevation. You'll just need grip or a tool to adjust these. As for the handguard, it's made from a sturdy and durable plastic, which is what I wanted, but you do get the unavoidable seam marks with it, but that's alright with me. As long as the handguard doesn't wobble or feel like it's made from the thinnest plastic that would bend from normal use, then I'm fine with it. As for the metal receiver's features, I already mentioned the period correct carry handle, but as you can see, you don't get a brass deflector, a fence around your one and only magazine release, and your forward assist is in this L fashion instead of being round. Even the pistol grip is A1 style, and all these add to the feel of this classic gun. I know some things are probably not correct since there's probably a really good history buff in the comments that knows that this is way off from the original A1, but for me, I like it. I do like that there's a slot for a classic carry handle scope mount, which could be added if you wish to, but I really like that I got serial number 210, as that's the area code for the city of San Antonio where I live. But something can be a bit of a hit and miss with the bolt catch function and the dust cover. My dust cover closes, unlike a different model I can think of. However, it doesn't take much at all for mine to just fall back down again. I don't even need to use the carry handle, just wiggling the cover will make it come undone, or I could just knock on the stock softly for it to open up. And as for locking the bolt open, pulling back the charging handle is not the only step you need to follow. You'll need to pull the bolt open like normal, then pull back on the ping pong paddle or bolt release yourself for the bolt to lock. Maybe this doesn't bother you that much, and maybe it does, but this is something I heard that people didn't appreciate. But what I do appreciate is the metal hop-up chamber and adjuster. I love how the rotary style hop-up clicks into place as you turn it. Then when you're finished making adjustments, you can either pull back at the carry handle to drop the mock bolt, or you can just press down the bolt release so you can hear a positive whack. To complete the receiver, I'll say that the selector switch works fine and that it clicks firmly into place without being too stiff, so there's no problems there, and that the trades are engraved and painted in. So with that said, we can go onto the stock where the battery is housed. Once again, this stock is made from what feels to be thick plastic, like the handguard, but you do get a reliable metal sling point underneath to pair up with the sling point attached to the front sight post. The business end where you can get to your connections can be found behind this well-textured rubber butt pad. No need for a screwdriver or incorrect swing door like you can find on later M16 variants. Just slide the butt pad downward and you'll have access to your storage unit of a battery compartment. The room inside the stock is massive, and this is why I love full stocked M16s, because I can fit multiple batteries inside here. I can fit a full-size 9.6 stick-type battery inside here and still have room for more. So for just an 11.1 LiPo battery, there's no challenge. And since this is a classic Army, you get to choose between small Tamiya connectors or Dean's connections. Such a lovely attention to detail, but for my random acts of OCD, I have to really work with the rubber butt pad when putting it back on so it doesn't bend or rip around the edges. It just loves getting caught up on the stock when sliding it on. At the chronograph 0.2s and 11.1 LiPo battery, the M15 gave me readings of around 396 to sub 410 feet per second readings, as you can see. Nice consistent readings are good readings, but this is going to suit more fields than CQB arenas with power like this. But if you do rock an 11.1 LiPo battery inside, then prepare for 22 rounds a second, which is pretty good. But if you do plan on running full auto, it's going to come at a cost, because this M15 has a bit of an issue. Here's semi-auto with 0.28 gram BBs at about 150 feet. The hop up isn't fully adjusted, but I'm still landing hits on that dumpster up ahead. But once I throw things into full auto, accuracy plummets. At least this is accurate of the real world, but for those going for pure performance, this is not the most accurate thing out there. Take it from me, use 0.28 gram BBs or heavier, and try to stick with semi-auto. You'll do much better this way. At least the trigger is pretty good in semi, so even if you do speedball semi-auto, then you should be fine. The metal 190 round short high cap magazine will do you well. I had no problems with feeding and I didn't have any jams, and with a bit of wear the mag should fall freely from the mag well. Also, most of my M4 mags worked fine with this rifle except for KWA K120s, which I had to push upward for them to feed properly. But then again, if you're going to run this rifle, you're probably going to be using more short mags, which Classic Army sells separately. Classic Army really hooked me with this M16. All things I wanted to be strong are strong on here. I don't have much to worry about when it comes to this rifle besides maybe range and accuracy. The accuracy is just a bit lackluster, but dear lord does it let loose with the 11.1 LiPo on full auto. It kind of reminds me of the M16 on Grand Theft Auto 3 if you know what I mean. The build quality is great, the battery storage is awesome, the price is fitting in my opinion, and the attention you should get with this rifle should be good, especially if you plan to do an M203 and heat shield combo. All in all, I'd recommend this, but what do you think? Is this Classic Army worth $240, or do you have another gun in mind? Be sure to check out the description for links to send you off to Airsoft GI's web store so you can find this M16 for yourself. Or just let me know what you thought about this rifle in the comments down below, because you know Classic Army will be reading those comments. But until the next video drops from the city of San Antonio, I hope you enjoyed my review, but this has been Scott Hollenbeck, and I'll be sure to see you all next time.